What would you do if you could no longer support yourself or your family? If the community that you lived in was no longer a community? Probably something none of you have ever thought about. But here in Moscow, Idaho, community is a very important thing. You wouldn't want to see anyone lose their jobs and have to leave this wonderful town, right? Well, that could become reality if we don't all start working together right now. I spent much of my time growing up at the local farmers market, helping my best friend and her parents sell their handmade jewelry. I watched them thrive. I also watched their dreams crash and burn. I watched them struggle to make ends meet when the popularity of the farmers market decreased and the corporation-owned grocery stores and the mall took over our little town. It wasn't fair, and shopping at the grocery store just wasn't the same. At the market, you go to shop and meet friends, be social. At the grocery store, everyone's in a rush. Also, whose household are you supporting then? You don't even know if your contribution is making a difference in anyone's day. The problem is, when you don't buy locally, you don't support the members of your own community, the many families relying on your business as their main source of income. You aren't contributing to the well-being of the economy in your community. Buying locally not only benefits your community economically, but all of the people in it, as well as community groups. It can also personally benefit you, and you'll get better service. To preserve our wonderful community here in Moscow, Idaho, we need to make some changes in our purchases, and I am here to tell you why. If we don't buy locally, it decreases revenue. I met with a man named Daniel Stewart, who helps run the Moscow, Idaho Farmers Market, and he helped me to better understand just how important all of this is. As of right now, the Moscow Farmers Market brings in millions of dollars each year to our community's economy. If that number decreases, it could mean the end to so many people's dreams and incomes, or even worse, the end of the farmers market as we know it. Also, Daniel told me about all of the wonderful families he has met over the years. Sometimes he gets the chance to see their farm and crops, sit on their porch and drink coffee while gazing out over the fields. Now that is a sense of community you can't get anywhere else. According to sustainableconnections.org, powered by Plone, a site I recommend all of you check out, if we aren't buying locally, we are supporting nationally owned stores with high infrastructure investment. We don't want to do that. Those nationally owned stores want you to buy specific things based on their national sales plan. Whereas when you're buying locally, products are based on the needs of the local customers because they truly care about you. Not to mention how much fresher everything is. You can really taste the quality in what you're buying. Now, take a look at this graph from A Little Goes a Long Way. If every one of you watching were to start buying locally, that creates more money spent locally and turns it into the big bucks, helping boost your community's economy. Just a small increase in all of your spending can more than double that local effect. Just think of it as the circle of life in your community economically. Now take a look at this from No Farms, No Food. Something none of us ever really think about. When farmers sell their produce and protein to the big nationally owned grocery stores, they only get around $1.50 of every $10 spent. When they sell it themselves at the market, they get closer to $9. A much better way to support themselves and their families. Also, as you can see, for every $10 that is spent at the market, almost $8 is spent back in the community. Such a simple way to create a great economy. Now you may be wondering exactly what to do. Here is the solution. Buy from the local farmers market, which here in Moscow runs every Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. from May through October. If it happens to be November through April, don't worry. You can shop at stores that sell locally made goods like ampersand oil and vinegar, and eat at restaurants such as Humble Burger, Lodgepole, or Tapped that serve locally grown, raised, and harvested foods. These businesses all got started at the market and have grown, turning a dream into reality and creating new job opportunities, thanks to everyone that believed in them at the market. So literally all you need to do is shop. Just make sure that when you're shopping, it's local. According to Steve Peterson, research economist at U of I, in an interview with Garrett Kabiza of the Moscow Pullman Daily News, the market is already producing positive net property tax revenues. Peterson says the market could become self-sustaining in as little as 3 years. That would be an amazing goal to accomplish and could bring us even more together as a community. So, you see what positivity comes from buying locally? We could achieve great things in this community. So get out there and shop. In a current article by Steve Peterson, he discussed how much money each type of vendor brought in 2015. As you can see, plant products bring in almost half of the money, prepared food over a quarter. Although crafts and poultry don't bring in quite as much, that is still a huge chunk of someone's income, a huge chunk going towards making this economy greater. Let's work together and try and raise the percentage on all of these in this next year. The problem which I discussed earlier, how when you don't buy locally, you don't support the members of your own community, the many families relying on your business as their main source of income, and you aren't contributing to the well-being of the economy in your community. This can all be solved. Families will continue to thrive, as well as the community, and people will be able to keep their jobs and sources of income if you just buy your groceries and other goods locally. If you eat at local restaurants, such as the ones I suggested before, instead of chain restaurants, you will support your community. If you shop at the farmers market and co-op instead of the nationally owned grocery stores, you will support your community. It's as easy as that. We can all start right now, and your participation is necessary. It is important that you buy locally, each and every one of you watching. Your single purchase could make a huge difference in someone's day, income, or towards their goal of opening up their own establishment someday. So imagine all that good that could come if all you did is start buying locally all of the time, or at least as much as possible. You may wonder, what's in it for me besides a strong economy and community? Well, buying locally does benefit you. The more money you spend locally, the more that is then spent on other local businesses in your community. You also get way better service because you are a part of the community, so the vendors you buy from really care about you, and they take the time to get to know you. They are also masters in their craft, so you never have to doubt that you are buying anything below par. Now it is time to do your part. Make a vow right now to yourself that you will buy locally as often and as much as you can. Make it a priority. Your friends and family in your community, as well as the economic growth, should be a priority to you, right? Well, this is how you can show it. Evaluate your behavioral intentions, as Richard M. Perloff, author of The Dynamics of Persuasion, Communication, and Attitudes in the 21st Century, would suggest. You want to start buying locally, and everyone in your community wants that for you as well. So it is more than likely to happen if you keep that in the back of your mind. Just make sure to always ask yourself when you're out shopping, is this something that I can buy locally? I have now shared with all of you the importance of buying locally and the positive impact it can make on the community as a whole. So get out there and do your part. It is so easy and as simple as buying your apples from the farmer's market instead of the huge nationwide corporation grocery store. Together, we as a community can do great things. We can boost our economy for a bright future for the next generation and all generations to come. Thank you all so much for listening.